today we're going to have Jane Ducey talking about the FOREVER Pack. Was it that way? However, in our back office, it is not called the FOREVER Pack. What is it called? The Shake and...
It's called the Shake and ISAGENISIS Pack, which clearly outlines what it is, but I like FOREVER Pack, so it was nicknamed that.
We're going to talk about how you can, well, she's going to talk a lot about telomeres and ISAGENISIS, the product, and just the revolutionary, how it came about, and then how it's been put into this great package, and sharing it and getting it, sharing it with our friends and family, and ultimately helping them get it for free. So welcome, Jane, and thank you very much for coming out and doing this segment.
Thank you, Sylvie. It's my pleasure. You know, I never pass up a chance to talk about science. So, so thank you for having me. And like Sylvie said, we're going to talk a little bit about the Shake and ISAGENISIS Pack, which has been nicknamed the FOREVER Pack, and maybe why we call it that. And so what it is, the pack is made up of 2 canisters of Isolene Shake, or you could use Isolene Pro if you wanted more protein, and a bottle of ISAGENISIS. And I think everybody's familiar with the Isolene Shake. It is the advanced nutrition that helps to fill the gap of, you know, what our bodies require for optimal health and what we actually get on a daily basis. And everybody has some gap there. There's nobody that doesn't have a gap in there. And that 1 a day Isolene Shake or Isolene Pro Shake just helps to fill that gap to get all those vitamins, minerals, nutrients that we need. And then the other product that's in the pack is our ISAGENISIS. It was formerly known as Product B. That was its original name. And it is truly revolutionary. And I don't think that people really understand how revolutionary it is. And so in order to explain why it's so revolutionary, I'm going to have to go into a little bit of cell biology. So we're going to take you back to high school or middle school, whenever you learned about cells, and talk a little bit about some of the structures of the cells. So everybody knows that our body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells. Within those cells, there's a little structure called the nucleus. I think everybody knows what that is. Within that nucleus, it holds our genetic materials. It holds the DNA, or the DNA and the chromosomes that make up our genetic, what makes us genetically unique. It's who we are. And so I'm even going to take it a step further. We're going to get even smaller, and we're going to talk about what's on the end of the chromosomes, and they're called telomeres. Telomeres were discovered in the 1930s, but nobody really knew what they did. They knew they were there, but nobody knew what they did. And so we fast forward to 2009, and that's a long time to not know what something does. But in 2009, there's a doctor, Dr. Bill Andrews, who made a groundbreaking discovery about the role of telomeres, those little caps that are on the end of the chromosomes. And what he did, what he found out, was that they actually influence the aging process. So in, you know, cellular biology, our cells are constantly dividing and replicating and dividing and replicating, and the, you know, our cleansing process helps to, you know, help that process, and also to get rid of the old cells that are dead. But what he found was that in this replication process is that the little covering of the chromosome, actually we lose a little bit with every replication and every duplication. And the impact of that, so I want you to think, so I visualize a little shoestring that has a little plastic caplet on the end, little plastic piece that holds the shoestring together. Now, what happens if that cracks or falls off or breaks? We start to see the shoestring starts to fray. And it frays and it frays, and it gets to a point where you can't even use it anymore. It's so frayed you can't get it through the eyelet, so it has lost its function. And that's exactly what happens in the cell, in the chromosome, is between all those replications and losing that little bit of a telomere, the end of the chromosome actually starts to fray and get damaged. And when it gets to a certain point, it begins the aging process. And not only does it, what we found is it begins the aging process, in many instances, it also begins the disease process. So these telomeres are critical in our optimal health and in retaining our, youthfulness. And so he actually won the Nobel Prize for that. I mean, this is not some little discovery. This is a worldwide Nobel Prize winning discovery. And in his research, he found that there's actually an enzyme that can be released in the cell that has an impact on the telomere. It actually helps protect the telomere. It's called telomeres. And his research was to find out if there's a way that he can get more telomerase into the cell to protect these telomeres, to protect the aging process. So he set up this multi-million-dollar lab, and tens of millions of dollars later, literally $30 million later, he had tested through 350,000 plus compounds and substances to find a handful. He found a handful of compounds that could actually influence this telomerase. The problem was that every one of them was toxic to the human body. And so through fate, through divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, a colleague of Dr. Andrews, Dr. Peter Greenlaw, is also a colleague of our co-founder and chief product developer, John Anderson. And to say that John Anderson is the Einstein of herbs and botanicals and extract this is not an exaggeration. He's so well known around the world in his knowledge of the uses and the impacts of botanicals. So they got together and collaborated, and he said, this is what we're looking for. And John Anderson said, yeah, I think I can come up with something. And so he got into his lab and he got busy, and he sent some formulas over to Bill Andrews, who tested them in his lab. And sure enough, they created this new level of telomerase, which actually impacts and helps to protect the telomeres. So that was the first collaboration, and our first product was called Product B, and it was the beginning of our anti-aging program. So it has since been evolved and developed over the last several years. It's now called ISAGENISIS. We're in our 4th version of it, and the research continues, and we are so far ahead of anybody else in the world, because his lab is the only lab in the world that can test this. And so we, in our collaboration with Bill Andrews, have created this revolutionary product that everybody I know that has used it regularly has noticed a significant difference, because it's, in many ways, it's visible in your body. So if, for instance, I know a lot of athletes, endurance athletes. We're outside all the time. We're cycling and running and, swimming, and we're out in the elements. And frequently that creates a damage in the skin. It's just and the skin is constantly having to repair and duplicate and repair and duplicate. So those telomeres get shorter and shorter in the skin. So consequently, have you ever seen endurance athletes over the age of 50? They're frequently very wrinkled. Their skin is very dry. It's typically not in great shape. And that's because those specific skin cells have just taken a beating over time. So damage can show up in our body frequently, even like people who have to look through microscopes all the time, or they have to read a lot or do fine work. Their eye cells, the chromosomes in their eye cells might start degrading. And so at a certain point, you've got to get glasses or some other aid, because the organ that is your eyes have weakened because of this degradation of the telomeres. So it shows up. Now, we're probably decades ahead of where anybody else in the world is on this. And it's probably the product that I hear least talked about. And I want to change that, because this can change people's lives. The Holy Grail right now is not just to protect the telomeres, but to actually reverse the aging. That's what we're going after. That's what everybody wants to find, is that combination of botanicals and that supplement that's just gonna reverse the damage done to the telomeres. So that's a really exciting thing, I think, in terms of what's happening with Isagenesis. So why we call it the Forever Pack? We just take it every month. We take it every day, every month, for the rest of our lives, so that we start reversing the aging process. And that is exciting.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I know.
When you were talking about skin, I was like, I'm not a runner, but I've been noticing my skin's been changing. But the big thing that has changed for me is my eyesight. And I used to have to wear glasses all the time, or contacts, like literally all the time. And it's the same for my husband and I, and our eyesight has improved by like 0.25.
Wow.
Oh,
so measurable.
Yeah. Oh, very measurable. Like, I just wear glasses to drive now.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, and it's one of the things I always noticed about, I've been in the endurance world for 30 years, and I would see like these old timers, the guys that started marathoning in the 60s, 70s, and just marathon through, and I'd find out their age, and they look so much older than what their age was, and I think that's just, again, we think, oh, athletics is great, it's, exercise is good, but when we take it to the extreme, it becomes the opposite. And if you're not really supplementing in an intelligent way, as anybody who does extreme sports or endurance, that type of thing, or has an extreme lifestyle, extreme stress, extreme, anything in the extreme becomes damaging to the body. And so I think that if you're not supplementing intelligently, that it does have an impact. It has a huge impact. So that was always just, I kind of started in my 30s, and I'm coming up on 60 now, and I would see these guys, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to end up looking like that. So it's fascinating, really, the role that supplementation plays in slowing down that aging, and we're on the forefront. And the other thing that's really cool, so we can get it for free. I mean, that is what's really cool. And I don't know if you understand the team building incentive that we have. So if you enroll 5 people in, with a qualifying order over 30 days, a month, so 1st to the 30th or 31st, if you enroll 5 people, you get a free box of complete essentials with Isagenesis. So you can get it for free. It's like $125. So I mean, that's really exciting. It's just another great incentive to get people with us, get them on our team, let's get them going, and to have this, of course, there's always people who don't really need to lose weight, or they don't want to lose weight. So this is a perfect pack for somebody who just wants to enhance their health and slow down the aging process.
I know, since this is for team builders, I think they always say the minimum, you should strive for is like 5 enrollments a month.
Yep.
And I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but it certainly is a great incentive, because it is like saving $1,200 a year.
Yeah, I've gotten boxes of it, and I just I love it. It's it's a huge, I think, reward for probably not a ton of work. You know, finding 5 people who need help and getting them started. So it's something really to keep on your radar. I always haven't, even if I've always had a box out so I can see it, like just to remind me, like, oh, it's getting close to the end of the month. I need to get somebody else in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that I truly realize the benefits of taking those vitamins on a daily basis, because I never did take vitamins before I started, like maybe 3 years ago, getting my products, those for free. And yeah, I'm certainly appreciating now. It's so weird. Like you said, it's one of the products that are the least talked about with the most benefits. So let's like dive in right into the Forever Pack, the price, and what happens when you bring two friends on board.
So the retail price, if somebody just wanted to buy it, is $219, and I don't know what it is Canadian. Sorry, I didn't look. But the Lifestyle Rewards Associate Preferred Customer price is $164. So you're looking at $164 to protect your health each month, just at a bare minimum. I think it's 111 BV. And now with our mini packs, anything over 100 BV, we get a PIB on it. So it's a $10 PIB. And of course, bringing 2 people in, you know, depending on where you are in your Isagenix journey, if you're brand new and you're in your first 30-year an associate in your first 30 days, bringing 2 people in, we'll get you that $150 crystal consultant bonus, which is very exciting. And then you get the $10 PIB, so you'd make $170 by getting 2 people started. Plus, then you unlock the power of residual income when you become a consultant. So if you remain a consultant all the time, then your volume, you remain active. So you put in a 100 BV order every month and you stay a consultant. So you've always got 2 active people, one on your right, one on, oh, I don't even think they have to be on your right and left, do they? No, so just 2 active people. Yeah. 2 active people, and you just always stay a consultant. As that your team grows, and not just the people you enroll, but the people you help also. So the people you enroll, the people they enroll, and other people on your team who, like Sylvie may be an upline leader for some of the people on this call, people she enrolls down your leg, all that volume comes up through your position. Everybody's volume comes through your position when they're enrolled below your position. And when the volume starts getting into that, that 600 BV on one time, 300 BV on the other side, so 600 and 300, you earn our cycle bonus, which is $54. And so those can just show up at any old time if you are active and you're in consultant status. So that's a fun little residual income that you don't have to do anything to get. So so that's very exciting, I think. So if you don't understand the compensation plan, if that doesn't make any sense at all, I would encourage you to talk to the person who brought you in or one of the upline leaders so they can really show you how powerful our compensation plan is.
Yeah, and the thing, just to close it up, I love the fact that, you know, the Forever Pack does cost $164 US, but you can make $170 just by sharing with 2 people.
Easily.
So if anybody
get paid for, yep,
a little bit of money. Like
I know. And then once you kind of get a feel for it and understand it, and then you help 2 people get started, well, you know, when you first become an associate, it doesn't have to be in 30 days. So when you first start enrolling people, it's your first 5, no matter when you enroll them. It might take you a year to enroll them, but when you hit that 5th enrollment, you get a box of complete essentials with Isagenesis. After that, then it's the calendar month. So if you enroll 5 people in the calendar month. So definitely a huge incentive for me, I know. So
yeah. All right. Well, this concludes our segment for today. Does anybody have any questions for Jane? Additions? Anything? Pam?
I do have a
I just
question.
ordered my pack today, or I'm getting my pack next week, my first Isagenesis bottle.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I've taken those 2 times a day. Excellent. Does anybody else have any?
Yes, Sandy.
Sandy?
So how old would somebody need to be to start? Because I had heard that even somebody in their 20s or 30s could be benefiting.
Absolutely. And I will tell you why. Because look around you. You know, people are aging much more rapidly. We're seeing people in their late 20s and 30s who are experiencing lifestyle diseases that previously, in previous generations, only, you know, when people were aging in their 60s and 70s, those diseases would start to show up. Now they're showing up in people in their 20s and 30s, which is really scary. And I'll tell you, those kids, that's what I, you know, those kids, they have suffered in a way they don't even know that they've suffered because of the lack of nutrition that they've had in their body. I don't care. They've grown up in a time of the world where their food is all processed. The farmed food is even industrialized and has very little mineral nutrient content, and they just don't get it. They don't get it in their body, and their bodies are deteriorating at a much more rapid rate than in previous generations. And, you know, they're living on Monster energy drinks and, you know, junk food. And even when they try to eat better, it's just not in the food. And so, you know, it's a generation that grew up on Lunchables, right. You know? So, yes, their body has been under attack from the time they were very young. And it's never too early to start this.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Thank you.
I heard Bill, when him and John were on stage once, saying that basically at the age of 25 is our brain starts to fall backwards. So up until the age of 25, just, you know, kind of let the kids be, but after age 25, so kind of in there. So.
And it used to be, because I remember doing research long time ago, because this is, you know, I've been interested in this for a long time. And it used to be, so the delineating age used to be age 50. Like at 50, things start to decline right around that age. Like we don't have as many digestive enzymes. We don't, you know, our brain cells start to not replenish more quickly. You know, all kinds of things start happening right around the age of 50. If you've really taken care of yourself, you might push that off to 60, but it used to be the age of 50, now 25. That's when the aging process is starting rapidly at the age of 25. And we're headed for disaster as this generation, when they hit their 50s and 60s, like what's going to happen to the healthcare system? I mean, it's going to be overloaded, and it's scary, truly scary.
Yeah.
So one thing, if I can add, so there's the website that Dave has set up, right? FOREVER PAK, PAK.com. There's a great video on there for people. So what you just said, Jane, it's really great because I am not a science person. I'm a lot like, you know, Jimmy Smith or Lenny Evans, whoever said it first.
Yeah.
You know, it goes in here.
Open your mouth and eat it.
Yeah. Let somebody else let somebody else talk about the science. So there's a good video on there.
Yeah, it is. It's about 22 minutes, and it goes a little more even in depth into this whole story.
So is that foreverpak.com?
FOREVER PAK, PAK.com.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll add that at the end of this video.
And there's nothing on there that, you know, click here to order now. Like it just has a team. So anybody can share it. Like Dave did a really great job of making it literally one team because anybody can share it. And then you have to come back to the person. And
he even says it on the video. Go back to the person who sent you this link.
Oh,
yeah, very loving.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really nice of him. Well,
yeah.
He's doing a great job. I don't know if you've watched the videos.
Yeah.
From mechanic to millionaire on YouTube.
Yeah.
He does like coaching on how to share. So if anybody wants to know how to really talk about this and just share it with your friends, go to YouTube and Google Mechanic to Millionaire, and that's all he talks and that's all he trains on.
Yeah.
Is Forever Pack, or just Google Isagenix Forever Pack and YouTube, and you'll find a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, this has been amazing. Does anybody have any extras? Last call. Questions, additions? Well, thank you very much, Jean, again, and everybody